Hello, guys. Welcome back to episode 3. And this one for me is quite important because my guest today, he was one of my first supporters when I first started posting content, sharing my content, liking my content, following me, and giving me advice. So for me, I've been wanting to do this for a while. But this is Nick from Bear Basics Canine Academy. If you wanted to say hello.
Hello, guys. How are we doing?
So yeah, like I said, for me, you've been one of my early supporters, and when I was unsure whether I should be making content or unsure whether I was doing the right thing, for me, you were quite often just letting me know I was doing the right things and just giving me that little bit extra nudge and confidence. So I really appreciate that, firstly. And I feel like I discussed it with Sam briefly last episode, and we'll discuss it at the end with how I like to finish. But the dog training space can be such a hate place in a really toxic environment. So I think it's really good when you can. Yeah, I think it's really good when you can help and boost other creators, other content creators, other trainers, and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It is one of those industries where, you know, there's a lot of back and forth, and of course, a lot of it is online. You know, you can only see, I don't know, maybe like 10 seconds of a reel or like someone's post or something like that. You don't know the full story behind what dog they're working or anything like that. So a lot of people do, unfortunately, jump straight to the comments and whatnot, which unfortunately this is the world we live in at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Them keyboard warriors. So for people that don't know you, just introduce yourself,
yeah, they're the ones, mate, yeah.
Introduce what you do, and who you are.
Yeah, so my name's Nick from Bear Basics Canine Academy. I'm a professional dog behaviourist. I've been in industry now for just like professionally, actually, only just under a year, which is pretty mental, to be fair. I've worked with dogs on and off all my life, but I've recently gone professional with it and never looked back since.
Yeah. So for you, what was that decision to take the next step into turning professional, turning it for your full-time career? What was that kind of moment for you?
Yeah, so when I first started out, I was actually working in a doggy daycare, and it was one of those where it just wasn't really very structured very well. There was just dogs pinging left, right, and centre, and I was sat there and I was thinking to myself, like, at this moment in time, I wasn't really very qualified with dogs anyway, so it was kind of just sat there thinking, like, what can I do to control these dogs because I'm struggling. And that's when I started to, like, say, dive in and look into like behavior modification and dog training and things like that. And I found people like Will Atherton, Tom Davis, all these YouTuber trainers and stuff, and I just heavily grilled watching their videos. And I started to then look at that and think and implement small elements of that into like my day-to-day job of just, like I say, working dogs. And it got to the point where I've gone from like hardly being able to like semi-control dogs to then being able to like properly fulfill dogs, and like those dogs were going home tired and they were going home like shattered and fulfilled, and it was a lot quieter for me as the day went on. But yeah, and it was at that moment where I thought, do you know what, doing this and taking like a dog and modifying somewhat of a behavior, so even that's just something like teaching a sit or a down or something like that, and I just really like that. I just like the concept of training a dog. And that's when I thought, do you know what, I want to do this for a living. I want to be like Tom Davis. I want to be like Will Atherton. I want to be these people that train dogs. And that's when like I say, I found Will's course, Will Atherton's course, took it, and then from there on out, I just started to gain more experience. And like I say, this year I'm going to be starting a mentorship. So I'll be starting a mentorship with Phoenix Canine. Really looking forward to that. But yeah, it's just one of those things that just started from there, really, and here I am.
Yeah, I mean the two main trainers you mentioned there, Tom Davis and Will Atherton. I feel like they are some of the two biggest names on YouTube at the moment, and rightly so, because
Absolutely,
the way they do things, even me, I'm always trying to learn from them, study them, watching every video they put out every time. It's just a little nugget of gold. If you just take a little nugget each time, you'll just slowly improve and slowly get better. And obviously, you did Will's course out for the other.
I did.
owners or trainers out there, would you recommend that? Is that something? I know it's quite an expensive course now, especially him being where he is in his journey. But would you still recommend paying that money?
Yeah. I would highly recommend it because I feel like it's a lovely little push in the right direction. I feel like it gives you everything you need to know for like just starting out. Don't get me wrong, it does not cover absolutely everything to do with behavior modification, which it'd be crazy to do that.
Yeah.
But it does go into the little revenues of like how to start your business, how to get clients, like how to just start and scale that. Obviously, the rest is then up to you, but it's there to help you along the way. And like I say, there's so much little bits in that are really important that will help you in bridging that gap into going into dog training.
Yeah, and like I know we spoke previously about potentially, or we are going to Tom Davis' seminar in September, and I think it's a massively
yeah.
so we're good to see you there. But it's massively important that even for someone, obviously, I know you're fairly young in your professional career, but experience with dog to continue learning, continue to just there's never too much to know. There's never too many times you can practice these basics.
Absolutely, it never stops. Like I say, I'm an advocate of saying, like, with dog training especially, it is an ever growing road. It just never stops. You're always learning. A new dog's always going to test you. There's always going to be something new, or there's just going to be a new dog that's going to come in and think, right, okay, this is new. How do we go about doing this? And it's just one of those things that's why I think it's so rewarding, because you can you learn from every single case that you get, and that's what's the beauty of it.
Yeah. So you spoke briefly about your mentoring program coming up. What does like the next 2-3 years look like for you as a company, as a brand?
To be fair, mate, I'm more so looking into, like I say, like what we just previously spoke about. Like, I just want to perfect my craft. I want to
Yeah,
perfect my
absolutely.
craft. Really heavily look into like the social media element of it. Like, I really like producing content, and I really like helping others in whatever that would be. If it's dog training or helping them like start their business and things like that, or if it's just an element of that I can produce somewhat of a content or a video to help someone in that way.
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking into doing. So definitely pushing for socials. But like I say, long term for me at the moment in time is, like I say, I want to get like my own facility, and I want to be able to just train dogs,
yeah,
document that, and produce content for everyone to see.
yeah. I mean, selfishly, I would love for you to produce more content, more longer form YouTube videos. I've watched the 3 you put
Yeah.
out already. Like I said, the way you explain things, the way you come across in your videos, it makes it very simple, very easy. It's almost as if you've been doing it your whole life already, and you're super easy to follow. So
Thank you,
it's
man. I
just
appreciate that.
and that's the important content to have online. It's not the confusing, twisty ones. It's just it's nice and simple, easy to follow, and that's what's going to help people who are searching online to slowly get better with their dog.
100%. Like I say, I was there personally with my dog. Like my Sid, for example, when I first got him, I was very young. I was very naive. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I thought, you know what? I fancy a working line Springer Spaniel because I think they're cool. And a year on, when he's like pushing on a year and he's like running after birds and stuff and like being a little nutter, I'm like, yeah, we need to do something about this. And that's what I did. I went to YouTube and I just looked up like how to stimulate a Springer Spaniel or how to work these dogs, and that's, like I say, that's how it started. And I fell in love with training from there on out. So like, I've
Yeah,
been there with my own dog, and I know it's a difficult thing, and you do feel stuck, like, oh my god, what do I do now? And you do just go to the internet and look up things
yeah.
on how to change dogs.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of trainers start there. Like no one goes out to go, I want to be a dog trainer. They always start off with, oh, my dog's a mess, or I want to make sure my dog's this
Yeah,
way and that way. And I feel like it's nice for the owners that you then work with, because you can be like, I've been in your shoes. I have had that troubled dog, and look at it
yeah,
now. And I think it's really reassuring to them to see what,
yeah.
if they put in the work, what can be achieved.
Absolutely, yeah. It's such a and that's why I like to be able to connect with my clients, because like I can be like, right, I've been there, I've done that. Like Sid was reactive, he's people and dog reactive, and I turned him around and I worked with him through the things that I learned, and that's where I can then put that into like almost connecting with my clients and understanding, like, I know it's difficult, I know it's hard, I've been there, and I think that helps a lot. It gives me a very high advantage, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned the social media. I know you have very many, but if you want to list off the ones you have, just so everyone's aware of where they can follow you and where they can find you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so my main socials at the minute is Instagram. So it is literally just Bear Basics Canine Academy on there. We've recently started up a photography page, which is
Yep.
Bear Basics Photography. I recommend that's my partner who's running that. Very talented photographer. So I highly recommend you go and check that out. And then YouTube, again, just Bear Basics Canine Academy. We are also on Facebook, but we've kind of come away from that a little bit now. We still post on there regular, just like I say, from regurgitated from Instagram. But like I say, Instagram and YouTube are the two main focuses at the minute. But yeah, check us out.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up because I was going to bring up as well. How important has she been, and how instrumental has she been in kind of in your journey and growing your brand? Because I know she had a lot of stuff behind the scenes, so I just want to obviously give her a bit of support as well, give her a
Yeah,
bit of love. Yeah. So just
absolutely. To be honest with you, mate, yeah, I would not be anywhere where I am right now if it wasn't for that girl. Like I said, when we first started Bare Basics, it was very much just kind of like me doing the training, me covering the admin. And I remember the day that I said to her, like, I can't do this. Like, I'm trying to book people in, I'm trying to train dogs, I'm trying to cover socials. I'm like, this is just insane. Like, it's just too much to fathom. And I remember her saying, like, do you want me to just kind of like cover that side of it? And that's sort of when it just started. That's when we just start to skyrocket. Like, she was covering like all the bookings and stuff, and like
yeah,
making up posts and things like that. And it's really handy to have her around because she pretty much just follows me everywhere when it comes to me, like doing my pack walks or like
yeah,
just training dogs. Like, I'm always got a mic on or something, so we just get so much content out of that, which is really beneficial for everyone watching. So yeah, she's been a massive part in the business, I'd say.
yeah,
Really big part of it.
yeah. And obviously for people that know you a bit better, obviously they know that she's doing a lot behind the scenes as well. So it's nice that you do have that relationship and have that
100%, mate.
brand and company to work through and work forward together, which is really nice to see. And you
Yeah, mate,
also,
dream team.
yeah, absolutely. You also updated your logo, which I'm personally a fan of. But I was just wondering, what was the reason behind you
Nice.
wanted to upload and also change your logo?
Yeah, so I don't know what it was. Like, I've always liked our original one, because like I say, like, no pun intended, but like the bare basics, it was quite a basic logo, should we say? But we've always said, like, eventually, like, this is long term, we'd like to look into maybe producing somewhat of like maybe like some like graphic t-shirts or
Yeah,
like something to give back to clients or give back to our followers and things on like social media and stuff. But I just thought the logo was very basic and we just need to like razz that up a little bit and jazz it up a little bit
yeah,
more. So that's, like I say, Yaz got to work again, doing a madness that she does, and we came up with a new logo, which I am again a massive fan of myself. I think it's really really good. I really like
yeah.
it.
It is very cool. I'm a fan. It's nice. Like I said, now
Thank
you
you, mate. Thank you.
got to rebuy all the new t-shirts and the new caps with the new logo on.
That's the only annoying part. Yeah, we got to re get all the merching and stuff and all the work uniform, but it is what it is. It
Yeah,
happens.
absolutely. So again, I know you're very busy from the start of the day to the end of the day, and I'm just curious for you, doing what you do, doing the day training, the day boards, the walking and one-to-ones. How is the heat at the moment affecting you, your business, and everything that's going on?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, mate. I'll be honest. Like, we always knew it was going to be a thing. 'Cause like I said, we don't have a facility or anything like that, so we pretty much just have to play it by ear on whatever the weather's like.
Yeah,
But I'm very, very strict with my clients in that I will not work a dog if I deem it not safe to do so. So if I say like the previous weekend that we've had, for example, I was starting sessions at like 7 o'clock in the morning because it's like I will not risk dogs going into heat stroke because it's just too hot to train. Same with my pack walks. We were doing pack walks like early on in the day, early on in the morning, should we say? and just trying to cram in as much as we could in the time that we had before it got too hot. So it's been a struggle. It's been difficult, but it's just one of those challenges that you get presented with, and you just have to work through it, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
we're doing all right. We're not doing too bad.
that's good. So, just for any of the other trainers or owners out there, is there anything you would recommend to keep your dog cooler in this weather, or just think for them that you can do when it's this hot? Obviously, you mentioned about
Yeah.
going out early and late, but is there more things that we can work on?
Yeah, so one of the things that I love to do personally for like my dogs is I will have one of the raised place beds, for the reason being, like I say, it does regulate heat, regulate air underneath the bed, so it pushes cold air from underneath, and then kind of just layer like either a cool mat on top of that or something, or like you say, you can look into doing maybe some like enrichment, so like freezing the kibble or the food, or like partly defrosting raw or something, giving them access to that, so it's nice a little cold treat or something that they've got. I always swear by fans. Little one that I'd shout is like the Muzz fans. They're really really good. Just like I said, regulating hot air. That's the main thing. And if you're lucky enough to get some air conditioning as well, that'd be pretty decent if you can afford it. But yeah, that's what I'd look into doing. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, what would you find is this at the moment with your clients? I know you range from a big spectrum, but what is the most common problem you find you find yourself coming across at the moment currently with dog owners and their
Uh,
dogs?
yeah. So see, it varies because I always say reactivity is something that I cover a lot of the time. Like that's a lot of mainly what people come to me for is like either fear based or biofrustration related reactivity. Um, Again, majority of those cases, like I say, lead pulling's a strong one within that. I would say
Yeah,
lead pulling's a byproduct of reactivity anyway. Like say rules and values and leadership and all that jazz. But yeah, I'd probably say it would be reactivity, which again, I I like getting those cases. Like I love that element of behavior modification. I love like changing a dog's thought process on another dog or another person, for example, and just restructuring that how they think, and then putting that into that dog then thriving, and it's just amazing for me. And like I love seeing the owners thrive as well as, so like watching them understand, like that sigh of relief that they get to be like, oh my god, finally, like my
yeah,
dog's listening to me, or my dog's not reacting to something or something like that. It just, that's a lot for me, and I really take that home and I appreciate it.
yeah. So, what kind of was it that made you go towards that direction of concentrating and focusing on the behavior mod and the reactivity in general?
Uh, like I say, mate, I think it's more so to do with just like my passion and like
Yeah,
my desire to want to help dogs and help owners live better lives with their dogs. So when I get a case in of like reactivity, for example, if it be fear based or barrier frustration or anything else like that, I always look at it and think, right, well, I'm going to do everything I can for these people in order to help them with their dog. And it's that element of it is the owners and how they take from the training, and like them like, oh, I'm really really happy that you've restructured my dog, or like you've helped with my dog, like I weren't able to take them out, or it's those ones that are like, oh,
yeah,
I've been walking my dog late at night or early in the morning to avoid people and things like that, and now I can go out and enjoy my dog. And like the videos I get sent, like that's one of the biggest things for me, is like when clients
yeah,
send me stuff of them just absolutely killing it, and I'm just like, get in, that is awesome. Like just seeing them with other dogs or something, or just seeing them be able to walk their dogs in public, it's just massive for me. Like I really really appreciate that. So yeah,
yeah.
it's probably more so that value that it holds that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And like you said, it's so nice to be able to build a relationship with your clients and for them to send you videos of how they're getting on and progress updates. And if you set them any homework and
Yeah.
and they're doing it, for me, like you just said, it's one of the most rewarding and almost relieving things that they're actually following through.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Because and again, my clients will vouch for me on this one. I am very, very firm with it, but it's because I want you to do well and I want you to succeed with your dogs. That's my main focus is I will come down on you, but it's for good reason. It's because I want you to
Yeah,
be able to live that happy life with your dog. I don't want to be Mr. Meanie all the time, but it's sometimes needed when you
yeah,
got to get through to them.
yeah. You got to make sure they're like holding themselves accountable as well as their dogs.
This is it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, mate.
Yeah, like I mean, hopefully me starting up my brand, my main slogan is training dogs, teaching people, growing together. Because I mean, as you know, it's just as
Yeah.
much training the person as it is the dog.
Oh, 100%, mate. Yeah, absolutely. And again, that slogan in itself, I love it. I think it's class.
Yeah, like it's very rare. But do you ever find yourself in a situation where you do get the tricky owners or the ones that are slightly more stubborn, or when it comes to doing the work at home after they've had a session with you, or if their dog's been with you for the day?
Yeah, I do, mate, and it's one of those where it happens. You're gonna encounter it no matter what training style, no matter what you do in terms of dog training. You're always gonna get that one person that just thinks, well, you know what, I want to do it this way, or I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm gonna do it my way, and that's where I've learned that it's a lot better to kind of empower that owner.
Yeah,
And sort of like I'll take the dog, for example, and I'll work the dog and I'll show them that I can walk it past loads of dogs, it doesn't react, or I can get it doing certain behaviors and stuff that they can't. And that's when I then relay that back to them and be like, look, this is what can be achieved if you just listen to me, you trust the process, you take it on board. And I've had a lot of success with that, should we say.
yeah,
And again, it's that confidence element of it. It's don't take that criticism and be like, oh, well, okay, well, we'll do it your way then, because that's not the message we're trying to relay out. It's like, no, we do it this way, we do it my way, because this is what's going to work and what's going to benefit your dog. And if you have that mentality, a lot of those people kind of just like fizzle out because they know that you know
yeah,
your stuff and you're
yeah.
on the ball with it.
And like you said, I think sometimes some owners just need to see that their dog can do it. And like you said,
Yes.
when dog trainers like yourself, like myself, and others have been doing it for a while, they just have that time and they just have that instinct of certain and reading the dog. So we are going to be better at handling your dog than you, and we're going to have a better understanding.
Yeah.
Then, so it's just about, like you said, just teaching that person that if you just go through the process 1% better each day, this is what you can achieve.
Yeah. One of the main things that I tell my clients is like after I've just handled a dog, for example, I'll always go like, I know I made that look easy, and the dog might not do it as good as that, but this is because this is why we're here. This is because I'm going to help you. I'm going to guide you through that process
Yeah.
and get you to be able to do what I've just done.
Yeah, absolutely. So we spoke about reactivity, and I know we can't put it on one thing, but is there one
Yeah.
particular area or aspect you think owners should be doing to help prevent reactivity, or is there a couple of things you think they should be doing to, just help prevent reactivity, whether it's whatever case it may be?
Yeah. I always say one of the biggest things with reactivity is just lack of understanding, and it's the lack of either over or under socializing your dog at an early age. So like one of the biggest things that I tell everyone that's getting a puppy or anyone that's thinking about getting a puppy is expose it to absolutely everything that you can. And I know that like there's the points of like, oh well, when they've not had the jabs they can't go out kind of thing. Well, carry them,
Yeah,
put them in a papoose, anything like that. Let them, just expose them to the world around them, because that's why a lot of dogs are reactive, is because they've just not had that proper key socialization. They've not experienced the world around them and been able to function and listen to their owner as well as within that. So
yeah,
I always say just focus on exposure and proper socialization, not over socialization, over like, get me words out, over socialization. So like I say, getting a puppy, chucking it at daycare, for example,
yeah,
or getting a dog walker because you can't walk them, for example, because then that's just going to just stress that dog out and it's just going to be a mess. Just
yeah,
don't do that. But yeah, just focus on, like I said, building engagement with your pups and,
yeah.
working with your dog in and around those environments. That's going to be the key, basically, to helping prevent reactivity.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it with this when you're saying exposure to environments. Quite often, when you tell it to people, they instantly assume you mean people and dogs, and it's not as just black and white as them two. It's everything. It's loud bangs. It's smelled. It's card. It's noises. It's everything in between. I did a video on it recently, and it's not just about what you can see. It's about, you got to think about your dog has a much better hearing than you, a much better smell than you. So you have to pay attention and think about that when you go into a new area. What can they smell? What can they hear? The example I gave was, you go to an empty field early in the day, and you see an empty field, so you assume it's going to be a low distracting environment, when realistically that dog can then smell 100 of other dogs that have been there, the animals that have been there. So for the dog, it's actually going to be a very distracting environment because of all the smells that are in the grass. So it's just about also seeing it from the dog's point of view, not just what we see.
Yeah, absolutely, spot on. Literally, it is one of those where it's like socialization in itself is exposing your dog to social situations. It shouldn't necessarily just mean one thing like dogs or people. It is literally everything and anything that dog is going to encounter within their life. Expose them to it, and you will have a much better, well-rounded dog.
I saw a quote the other day which I was really fond of. I can't remember who it was from. I'm probably going to butcher it, but it was about your whole role and job as a dog owner is to teach your dog to exist in a human world. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this dog happy and satisfied and fulfilled in our human world. Dogs walk naturally at a much faster pace than we do, but yet we want them to walk at our pace. So it's just about all these other little things, and just making them understand our world and living, like I said, a happy, fulfilled life in our world and coexisting with us.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's one of those, like you just said it there, about like fulfillment, as well as, if it wasn't to be the socialization element of it, it would be fulfillment. So like, for example, saying to someone like, okay, well, how many walks a day does your dog go on? And they're like, oh, one for an hour, and they've got a Belgian Malinois. But it's like, well, that's just not enough. That is not enough at all. Like I say, we need to be getting so much more work put in there. I was the same, again, relaying it back to like my Sid, for example, working to bring a spaniel. I was just taking him to, say, like, I don't know, taking him to the park or something, walking around chucking a ball for him. That's not enough. Like, he's just, I'd do that, I'd get home, and he's there then barking at me like, come on, we're going to go again. We're doing it again. You've got to be able to fulfill these dogs. And I'm not saying like a Belgian Malinois, for example, that's maybe a bit of the extreme of the spectrum, but like even just something like a Labrador, you know, just touching into a little bit of fulfillment, like getting them to retrieve or something like that, you know, getting them to just have that element of both physical and mental stimulation will benefit them so much more than, like, say, just a 20-minute walk around the block.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you nailed it there with the mental stimulation. I had a client not too long ago, and she was like, I'm taking my dogs for 2 walks, and it's still coming back. It's barking, like I said, it's barking at me. It's playing with my other dog. I just don't understand why it's not tired. And I was like, well, how can you train it? She was like, I don't. I was like, well, you need to make it think. You need to tire that brain out. If you tire that brain out, that dog gonna. And we were just doing some basic leave it training and some leave training, and within 5-10 minutes, that dog was knackered just because I was making it think. And she was just so blown away by the fact that, just again, we were just in the house, just doing very simple, very, like I said, level 1 of the leave training, and she was just blown away at how much thinking was tiring our dog out. So yeah, it's absolutely about mental stimulation as well as physical.
Yeah, 100%. Like literally what you just said. I always say that to like all my puppy clients. Like, I'll get an inquiry and being like, "Oh my god, my puppy's like ripping my arm off. It's chewing my arm. It's biting me. I can't deal with it. It's barking all the time. I don't know what to do." I'll come round and we'll just literally blast through like some little low level of obedience, and the dog's just flat out within half an hour. And it's like, oh my god, how have you done that? It's just like literally stimulate that brain, you know, work that brain, and we're going to be on to a massive winner.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned it there. I think, as well as we talk about fulfillment, I personally am an advocate for using your dog in some way to replicate what they were bred for. Now, I know sometimes that's difficult depending on your breed, but for example, with yourself and myself, having a Springer Spaniel, they're meant to hunt, they're meant to retrieve. So using tennis balls, sending them directions, and just trying to fulfill that dog for what it, because that is embedded deeply into their DNA, into their genetics. So use their genetics to fulfill them mentally, and physically, and again you have a much more happy, healthy, and better dog to live with and be around.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like, it's one of those where when you start to like tap into that dog's intrinsic desire to want to like chase a ball or tug on a toy or just even do some obedience, if you can nail that and you can work with it, you'll be setting yourself up for so much more success with your dog just by just adding in that element of fulfillment and that utilizing that drive effectively, should we say, as well as.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, many of us have made the mistake of not researching the breed properly, but
Yeah,
quite often the issue that I come up with is that they haven't got a breed suited to their lifestyle. They very much got
yeah.
that dog to fit their image and not their
Hmm.
actual lifestyle.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%, mate. That's one of the biggest things at the moment is, and you see it a lot with like your big like livestock guardian breeds or like your
yeah,
mastiffs or like even like I said previously, like your Belgian Malinois or your German Shepherds. Is people get them because they look big and scary.
yeah,
When in reality, if I see these dogs on the streets, I'm more cringing and embarrassment because you're getting dragged across the pavement because you can't control it.
yeah,
Like it's just awful to see that people just get them for the pure looks of the
yeah,
dog,
yeah,
and that's where people fail, and it's horrible because
yeah,
I personally hate it, and I'm like, well, it's not fair on the animal just because you want to look big and hard, should we say, with your dog.
yeah,
You don't look big and hard because you just look like you can't control it.
absolutely.
But yeah, that's one of the biggest things at the moment,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I think it's such a vital thing that you research your breed. Like, for example, I would have not have got Springer Spaniels
Absolutely.
if I did not live on a farm that worked Springer Spaniels. And I would personally,
Yeah, mate.
I personally would love to have a Belgian Malinois, and I'm sure at some point in my journey I
Mm,
will, but only when I have the lifestyle and the ability to fulfill that dog, because it is a
yeah,
full-time job and commitment for the likes of a Belgian
it
Malinois. And
is. It is.
I think they're stunning dogs. I think they're beautiful. I think they're ridiculously intelligent, and I would love to have one, but not yet because I can't fulfill
Yeah.
that dog in my current state.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's that mentality to have. I'm exactly the same. Like, I want to get into sport dog training, and I want to do some level of sports dogs. But I know for a fact I'm nowhere near ready for any of that just
yeah,
yet. Like I say, I'm sticking to my pet dogs. I'm happy with my Chihuahuas and my little Yappers. They're fine. I'll stick with those for now. But yeah, like eventually I do want to jump into that world and experience it and make something of it as well as. But yeah, it's 100% research your breed, research the dog that you want to get, and do extensive research. I'm not just
yeah,
saying like, oh, how to stimulate a Belgian Malinois. Absolutely not. You need to be like extensively looking into breed lines and bloodlines and breeders and things like that.
yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you briefly mentioned there about going into sport. It's just out of curiosity. Was there any particular area you'd like to go in, or are you pretty open to any area as of yet?
So it it varies at the moment. 'Cause like I say, I'm not. Um, I do want to jump into it, but as of where I jump into, I'm not quite sure just yet.
Yeah,
I've always had an interest for PSA,
yeah,
the protection dog sports. But yeah, like I say, I'm just not 100% on it all yet. This is again why I'm doing a mentorship this year, is because I want to dive in on that side of dog training and get an understanding of it to then benefit my style of training in pet training as well as. I
yeah,
feel like they both do bounce off each other, and you learn a lot from one and learn a lot from
yeah.
the other and put the two
Absolutely.
together.
Uh,
But yeah, it's definitely something that I want to jump into.
yeah. I mean, I completely. And you know what? You learn. It's the same, but it's completely different. Like you said, like pet stuff is
Yeah,
it's awfully what you do. You're very good at it. You're confident at. But when you do look at the other sport, whether like you said, it's the obedience, high level obedience stuff, it's the protection stuff, it's the dog diving, it's the gun dog stuff. In my example, the way that
yeah,
gun
yeah,
dogs are taught compared to the way I teach my pets are very very different. And for me, I struggled a lot at first finding that happy medium of using
yeah,
what I knew from the pet stuff and then trying to learn almost start again new with the gun dog stuff, and it's
yeah,
trying to like bouncing back and forth and using what you know works
yeah,
as well as learning these new things. And I think you just, like you said at the start of the video, what was your goal for dog training, and doing all these different sports helps you perfect your craft. And work towards mastery, which
Yeah.
we'll never achieve, but that's always the end goal.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, we're always striving to be the best of a version of ourselves, should we say?
Yeah,
And exactly what you just said there about like it is like a complete minefield when you get into it. Like I was exactly the same. It's taken a lot for me to want to pursue that and want to dive into that, but I've just learned that I want to go down that route in order to best benefit my craft and help dog owners live better lives with the dogs, kind of thing. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a difficult one to swallow, but if you can put in the time and the effort to
yeah,
really research these things and go into detail on it, you'll be smashing it.
yeah, absolutely. So we briefly spoke about different breeds there. Have you got any particular fan favorite, if you like, fan favorite breed that you like to work with, or that you see it come up like when you had doing the admin stuff, you're like, oh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah. I don't know, mate. Do you know what? Super random one, but I really, really like working dachshunds. Like, I
Yeah,
really
okay.
do like working them. Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah,
think it, would you? You'd
yeah,
think
I
it's
know.
the most
Yeah,
random one. But yeah, like to be fair, when I first started out, I'd get one coming, I'd be like, not another one. But
yeah,
the more and more I've understood the breed, and the more and more I've worked with the breed, and I learned how drivey they can be, they're so fun to work with. Like I say,
yeah,
they're such a really interesting dog. But yeah, and again, eventually, I hope to get one day.
yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at getting a little wire-haired one.
Oh, very nice.
But yeah, Dachshunds, mate, love them.
Yeah. So, like you said, you've been doing it for a while, but professionally, just about a year. Me personally, early on in my journey, I suffered a lot with imposter syndrome, and
Mhm.
I'm getting better. But I just want to know for you, what is one of the things that builds you confidence personally, and things you do to increase your confidence and kind of shut out that imposter syndrome?
Yeah, like again, I'm not gonna lie or anything like that. I still get it to this day. I still get it quite a lot till this day, but I surround myself with like-minded people, and I surround myself with people that understand me and understand what I stand for, and that really helps me. Like it literally only needs to be like you're one of those people. It's like I can come to these people to talk to them, like if I'm struggling with something, or if I'm just not feeling a case, or if I'm just got some means of a problem, I'll go to these people and I'll be like, right, can we have a little chat? And I know these people are going to be there to help me out. Another great thing that I do, like I say, I just like I say the work that
Yeah,
I showcase, and like I'll look at like what bookings I'm getting. You know, I'm booking up like months in advance now, so like clearly doing something good. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's something going on there that's going right. But yeah, it's stuff like that. Like you start to, and again, people message me asking the same question, like, how do you deal with this thing? And I'm like, mate, I'm still dealing with it myself.
yeah,
But the fact
yeah,
that you're coming to me to
yeah,
get that advice, that also helps me as well. So it's like a little bit of a back and forth with that person, which is really, really good. But yeah, just surround yourself with like-minded people,
people.
and you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, since I've been in contact with a lot with yourself, with Ben from BG Canine Academy, and with Sam as well. Obviously, he
Yeah,
was on a
legend.
podcast last week. We're all
Yeah,
very
another
fond of.
legend.
And like you said, it's just like you said, having them like-minded people. And again, when you see like you guys and a few of us mentioned, when you see them doing the same thing that you're doing, for me that was reassuring to be like, okay, I am doing all right. If these guys, for people that I look up to or a bit further along in their journey than I am, are doing the same things that I'm doing, then I must be doing something right, you know. And
Yeah,
yeah, so it all helps.
yeah, absolutely. It's like what we said about that social media thing. Like, you only see what that trainer or that person's posted. Like, you don't know the
Yeah,
backstory. You don't know what they've had to been through within that post or that case or whatever it is that they're doing. So don't just base it off that. So, like, if you see someone like making mass amounts of success or something like that, and they're just banging it out and smashing it, don't assume that those people are the ones that aren't suffering with imposter syndrome, because they
no,
probably are. They're probably
yeah,
the ones that are suffering with it the most, to be fair.
yeah,
And that just might be how they add fuel to their fire, is just by making content or posting their wins.
yeah,
That's one of the things
absolutely.
that I do, is like I'll always share like my clients smashing it, and I'll always post it to my stories and stuff and showcase them doing madness with the dogs, and that helps me. It's like, I've helped that person get to that point, and
Yeah.
they're now living for it, which is huge.
Yeah, it's almost like trying to get that undeniable evidence that you are
Yeah,
where you're supposed to be.
yeah, 100%, mate.
Absolutely. So I'm sure you obviously, when you put yourself out there as much as you do, I'm sure you get the odd hate comment, and like we've said, the keyboard warriors. For you, how do you deal with that actually, in terms of if they comment a shit post, and how do you deal with that mentally in your own mind?
Yeah. So I've kind of progressed a lot on how I deal with this. So I used to be quite heavily invested into like TikTok and things like
Yeah,
that, and growing on TikTok. But I very quickly found that TikTok is one of the most toxic places for hate. And like I say, from someone who is a balance trainer, posting on that app is just toxic. Like, you're just going to get hate no matter what you post.
yeah,
It could be a little cute fluffy puppy, and someone will hate on
yeah,
it. But yeah, it's kind of like that. In those days, I'd see a comment and I'd really take it to heart, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to take that video down, or maybe I need to just delete that or something like that. Whereas as I've progressed, like, I'll just delete that comment, or I'll just delete that person, or I'll block that person,
yeah,
or I'll just completely ignore it. One of the biggest things that I do, and so I'm not actually on, other than Instagram, I'm not actually on any of our other socials. Yaz controls
yeah,
all of that, so she basically deals with all of that. I don't see any of the comments pretty much, unless she like
yeah,
tells me one of like a really nice one or something, or
yeah,
one that just sounds bizarre. I'll look into that, but yeah, I don't really. So it's kind of like I'm a post and ghost mentality. Like, we'll
yeah,
post a video and I'll just have nothing to do with it then, unless
yeah,
it's
yeah,
to comment on someone else,
yeah,
or comment back to someone else in a positive way. But yeah, that's pretty much how I deal with it, mate. It's just literally, if you don't like the look of something, just delete it. Delete
yeah,
that negative energy from your life. You don't need it at all.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And so, well, when I finished, how I finished with Sam last week, and obviously we're going off on what we've just been talking about. I'm a strong believer that we've got to build a positive space for the dog community, for the dog trainers, for the dog owners, that they can
Yeah,
have a group of people, or a community of people which are positive and support each other. So, if you could just name a few of the trainers that maybe are or maybe aren't on social media, and just say why you like them, and who's doing a good job at the moment, kind of thing.
yeah. So again, we mentioned the two absolute legends already. So Sam's Canine Academy and BG Canine, absolute G's. Love them. But yeah, like, people that I particularly look up to, Ben Marsh, Balance Dog UK, absolute legends. Obviously, Will Atherton.
Yeah,
Yeah, just like people like that, the ones that I've kind of progressed in my journey watching, and now lucky enough to call these people like my friends and people that I can go to for advice and things like that. That's
yeah,
something that I hold quite close to my heart. But yeah, like, those people are absolute legends, all of them.
yeah. So for dog owners who are looking online, what was your advice to them when kind of trying to find videos, and picking who to watch?
Yeah, so yeah, who to watch again? Shameless plug
Well,
here, but come watch some of my stuff.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, go watch some of our stuff. But no, like I say, like the ones I've mentioned: Will
Yeah,
Atherton, Tom Davis, yourself. Like, you're absolutely smashing it, mate, and you post content that I feel like is very beneficial to dog owners, and like, it's stuff that maybe they wouldn't think about. And again, I'm not saying just solely look at videos and stuff, but absolutely get booked in with a trainer if you can get booked in with a
yeah,
trainer.
yeah,
But if you're just looking for that extra little piece, that extra little sprinkle on top,
yeah,
definitely look into these people. So, like, say, like yourself,
yeah,
and Ben Marsh as well, as if you're more Instagram
yeah,
based. So, like, Tom Davis, Will Atherton, they're all absolute legends, and they post. It's all dog owner related, which is really important. That's what's going to help you.
yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much for coming on today. I'm absolutely sure
Yeah,
I'll
no
have you
worries at
on
all,
in
mate.
the future. it might even be like a little review, a little recap after we see Tom Davis in September. But
Oh,
I look,
absolutely. We have to do that, mate.
yeah,
100%.
yeah, that would be good
Yeah.
fun. And if some of the other lads are down there as well, we can do a little group one. It'd be quite good fun.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd like to see if we can get something like that sorted.
Yeah, it would be good fun. But yeah, so I look forward to finally meeting you in person then. But yeah,
Yeah, mate,
as always,
100%.
I'll stay in touch via message like we always do. And thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, no worries at all, man. It's an absolute pleasure, and see you soon.
See you soon.